Well, hello there. Bin's on. Got something to read today, so please excuse me. I know there's a glare. Now, we're going to have to blame a chap called Phil for this message. That's one of the viewers, F-I-L-L. I'm guessing his name is Phil. Not having a pop at you, Phil. Great message, great comment. Thank you very much for it. And I suspect you're right. I suspect you're 100% right, and I knew that was going to be a problem. What it is, just to let everybody know, Phil messaged me overnight to say what would be worth me doing would be changing my thumbnail on each individual video. He said because many people are attracted by the thumbnail, and obviously if they like the thumbnail they may look, whether they like the video or not, whether they stay with you or not, at least you then capture that person having a look. Because my problem is I don't have enough people on here because nobody knows about the site, as I keep mentioning, but that's down to me. That's down to me to push it out there. We've had over 2,000 views, but we're 3 or 4 weeks old, and as I said yesterday, we've had over 2,000 videos. No, we haven't, but we've had a lot. So we've not got anything that's massively other than one, what I would suggest is successful. But I'll get there, I'm not worried about that. The thing is, Phil, and to let others out there know, as I said initially, I am one of the world's biggest technophobes. I am. I'm also a bit Ron Dicko. For those that don't know, Ron Dicko was a character from Brookside. You might not remember that. You might not be Northwest based like me, but if you are and you knew it, you'd remember old Ron Dixon. So Ron Dicko to me equals thicko. I am a bit of a thicko. I'm also quite lazy. My daughter set this site up for me, as I said in the intro video. I looked at thumbnails, and what it offers you, the YouTube, is it offers you 3 or 4 stills of yourself. Well, when I first seen myself, and I've mentioned it already. Look at the lines, look at the bags, look at the grey. Oh, I nearly died when I seen myself. So I thought the last thing I want is somebody to put the TV on or put the laptop on and they see my mush. I don't want to see it, so I'm sure you people don't want to see it. Plus, at the time, I didn't want my wife and kids to know I had a YouTube channel, and I didn't want them to put on the TV and somebody see my mush there. I want them to find out. Did they say organically? A couple of them have now found out too. One child knows, one wife knows. I've only got one wife, by the way. The other 2 children don't yet know, but they will in time. Now, the thing is, I just keep the same thumbnail all the time. Britain's grumpiest old git. And I am. That is what I am. Most of what I do is moan. But I moan about a range of subjects. The landscape is massive. Anything to do with news, to do with media, to do with entertainment, to do with sport, I moan about it. I praise some people as well, but I do a lot of moaning. I know I need to change things, Phil. I know I need to. I probably need to find out how, because I think you go in there, it's like a studio and you can do things. I'm not clever enough. I need probably my daughter to show me what to do, and I might change some of the thumbnails. But then again, I'm hoping if I can get to that lovely 1,000 subscribers mark and 1 or 2 or 3,000 people are watching me per video anyway, it might not matter. They might just watch anything I do because they like me. There's got to be somebody that likes me. There's just got to be. Laws of averages say there's millions of people in this country, and there are a few watching from America now. There's got to be somebody that likes me, and that's what I'm banking on. But just a quick one for you, Phil, and for other people there, because I must admit, I've done loads and loads of different videos or postings or vlogs or whatever the hell they're called, and there's some that are drastically underwatched, and I've done a few, and and I don't edit, as you see. I don't edit. There's no music, there's no graphics. But normally, before I post them, I just watch them back. I don't re-record them. There's probably only 2 or 3 I've ever re-recorded when I've made a massive howler. Some have gone out with the odd howler, but as long as it's reasonably okay, it passes muster, and I download it. But there's some out there that I've been pretty proud of, and they haven't got watched. And I'd love them to be watched because it'll tell yourself, Phil, and other people more about the channel. Because I do appreciate you just watch one as it comes out and you don't go back in the catalogues and you don't look through the catalogues and you don't know what's there and you don't know where to find them. But there's some I'd like some people to watch, and there's some especially I'd like some women to watch, because I know at the moment the bulk of the viewership, if not all of it, is guys. And it's guys because I do a lot to do with sport and a lot to do with football. But I'll just give you an idea of how the channel's going at this stage. This here has got some viewing figures on there. I mean, I don't know if you can see that. The one I've had watched the most is by a guy called Francis Rossi, out of Status Quo. I went to see him live in a theatre near me 2-3 weeks ago now, and he was amazing. He was even better than I thought he would be. I've always loved him. I know he's great, although some knock Status Quo. But I've seen him a couple of years ago when he did his talk show to theatres, talking only and answering questions. This was talking and semi-acoustic music with one other guy. But it was sensational. It was absolutely brilliant. More about it in my video if you want to see it. I think the reason this video took off, and I say took off, I know 764 is nothing. People I follow people that have not got many subscribers, but they get 5, 6, 700 views to every video. Sometimes they get 1, 2 or 3,000. Some of the people I watch, there's one guy I watch with 100,000 subscribers, which is miles more than me, but he's only small fry as YouTube goes. He gets 10 or 12 or 15,000 watching per posting. But 764 for me as of earlier today is a massive amount. And I think the reason for it is, it went from 30 in week 1 to about 230 within overnight. I think they posted a clip of one of the songs he did at one of his shows on YouTube about 5, 6, 7 days ago. And I think from that, my YouTube thing has been hooked onto it by YouTube themselves to follow up on it, and some have seen it. So because of that, they've watched it. So we had 764 for Francis Rossi. Chap called Danny Malin, I don't know if any know him here, from Rate My Takeaway. I think he's brilliant. I've said already, the wife can't understand why I watch him. Can't understand why I'm watching someone just eat food, although I love food and I love all the wrong foods, and so it seems does Danny. I've done something about Rate My Takeaway about himself because I like him very much. I think he's a really, really nice and genuine guy. But I've done something that was more, I don't know if heartfelt's the word, but a bit more serious about himself and his partner, Sophie Maylan. I think that's how I pronounce it. I hope it is. I actually dropped her a message. She never got back. She's probably never seen it. To say, is there anything offensive in that I've put on there? Because if there is, I will take it down. I don't think it was offensive myself, and I was full of praise for both of them. But there's something in there she might not want it to be in there, but I've never heard from her, so I'm assuming it's okay. So it's been left up there. That's had just over 200 views, 233. Paul O'Grady put something on a week or so ago, well after he died, about For the Love of Dogs. People love Paul O'Grady, people love dogs. So now, 99 have watched it, we're nearly on the 100. And then there's a couple that probably have an American influence, because some in America are watching. Did something on American Idol, it's had 87. And something on Clint Eastwood's top 10 films. We all like Clint Eastwood, be it from Britain or America. But I think them figures are heavily influenced by the American viewing public viewership. And that's on 55. So they're all doing reasonably well. But can I point you, Phil, and anybody else that's watching this channel, to a few more videos that you may see in here that I think have been massively underwatched, and I'm pretty proud of, and I'm not big-headed in any way, shape or form. I'm certainly not going to blow my own trumpet, but I think there's some that are alright and they've not been watching. It's a shame. And I think there's some that specifically would appeal to women, and I think women may have the same kind of opinions as me and same kind of views, and I'd love to hear them. These are the older ones. The older ones, I mean, I'm a bit more comfortable now talking in front of a camera. You know, I've got used to it a bit more. I still don't like the way I look, and I still know it's extremely basic, just me and my studio bedroom, but I'm more comfortable now. Early doors I wasn't, very much wasn't. That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've done a lot in 2 or 3 weeks, but some older ones there. There's one that's been watched by one person. I think it's funny in its own way, but then again, I am biased. It's about racing. It's ITV Racing. There's the numbers on there. It's been watched by one person. Watch it and tell me what you think. And if anybody knows what's the word Bisbo means, please tell me. One about Boris and Donald Trump. It's Boris and the Don, Trump in brackets. It's been watched by 11. It's a bit long, and the payoff, the line only comes halfway through, but I've got an idea in a way that could help Donald get off his latest charges in the US of A. If only he watches it, I think he could use it, and I really think it could get him off, regardless of what he's done. One I'm most proud about is shared toilets. It's been watched by 5. I know there's many women out there now that don't really like the idea of shared toilets, and I know they're coming in more and more. I know my wife, I've got 2 daughters, all 3 of them would be unhappy with shared toilets. A friend of mine, when I discussed this with her the other day, well, I call her a friend, so I know her, I'm not saying she's a friend, but no, she is a friend of mine. A friend of mine give me some other reasons that she wouldn't like it, and I never even put them in there, and I thought, yeah, you're right about that. So anyway, it's been watched by 5. What else have we got? Paul O'Grady and Loose Women. Have a listen to that, and have a listen to the Loose Women part. It's been watched by 18. Send Them on the Plane with Ronaldo. 2 suggestions from me for Mr. Eric Ten Hag of 2 people he should have put on that plane with Ronaldo. There's a lot more. And he could have took them to Saudi for a holiday, got them out of our club, because I don't want them there. Although many of you do like one of them, or they do this year. God only knows why. And then Paddy McGuinness and Judy Love. Well, I'll let the video do its talking there. So that's had 8. So they're the older ones. I've got some newer ones from when I got a bit more on the ball, I think. And I think they're worth looking at. Philip Schofield and Dan Wooten. Dan Wooten's come out and called Philip Schofield massively. Simon Jordan, A Message 2. That is possibly my favourite one. But it's only my favourite one because every point I make, I think I'm absolutely spot on. I'm a bit like Simon Jordan. He thinks he's spot on with everything, but he's got thousands and thousands and thousands of people and viewers behind him, and everyone telling him, including his cohort there, Jim White, that is the second coming. I think he's very good. I don't think he's the second coming. I think he's nearly always right. I don't think he's always right. Do I think he's any better than me? I wouldn't have thought so, but many of you do, but nobody's watching me, so who can form an opinion? He's certainly got better surroundings in which to work, and he's certainly more well-known. I'm happy with that. I don't want to be well-known. A Sickening Waste of Life. I'll go to that one last, because that's touched me a little bit. 2 more to go, and then this message will end. Gender from Birth. Please, please, please watch Gender from Birth. If you're a parent, or a parent-to-be, watch Gender from Birth. It's been watched by 3 people. I think if more were to watch it, I would A, garner some comments, and B, I think the bulk of them would be on my side. Let me know what you think. I'd love people to watch it. And Haaland versus Cantona. They asked on TalkSport the other day, who's had the biggest impact on their new team, either Haaland at City or Cantona at United. Well, they asked for any player, but Cantona got mentioned by a few. Have a look at the Haaland Cantona. It's been watched by 24, and tell me if you agree as to who has had the most impact on their team. Lastly, the Sickening Waste of Life. That's down to a story I read in the press a couple of weeks ago about somebody who was senselessly murdered, I would say, although the guy that did it got off was it manslaughter in London. I actually put a video on here because they're trying to get a petition to keep the guy in prison for longer. He served virtually no time in prison. He's getting out very, very shortly. They're on something like 8,100 signatures on the petition. If it gets to 10,000, it goes in front of Parliament and it could possibly be reviewed. I think it should be. I did a video on air of my own back, sent it to nobody. At the time, only 8 people had watched it, and the 9th person happened to be the lady that did the interview in the newspaper, just thanking me for support, and I was really, really touched. Just shows sometimes the power of the internet, the power of YouTube. As I said, I never sent it to her, and only 8 people had watched it, so how she found it is beyond me. But she did, and she sent a thank you, and it meant a lot to me. But I do hope she has some joy there. I really, really do. Anyway, that's it. Now, if anyone stayed this long, and many of you won't have done, but if you have, you'll see it similar to this first message. Well, coming up in the next couple of minutes, but it's going to have a totally different thumbnail. And Phil, it's your fault for the next thumbnail. It might get me in trouble. Hopefully it won't. But it's your fault. And by the way, just as a bit of a tip-off, the picture will be the same. But underneath the thumbnail, the message will be different. So although I'm not changing the thumbnail, I'm being out there with the message. I'm doing something that will hopefully garner lots of attention. So loads may click on. They'll probably all click off almost straight away, but they'll click on. I just want to see how it works. And it's going to be done 15 minutes after this one comes live, whenever time today that might be. Okay? Thanks, Phil, for your input. I much appreciate it. We may look at thumbnails further down the line, although, as I've said, I'll give you reasons why it's a bit of a worry for me. And it's 14 minutes. I've rabbited on more than I would normally like to. I do apologise. And thanks for sticking with it.